Hey guys, Ethan here, and I just wanted to sit down real quick and record a video about a project that I'm going to be working on. So, as you can tell, not exactly sitting at a computer desk. Um, Over the course of the next month or so, I'm going to be really focused on learning piano. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity to show you how the D.A.M.N goal framework can be used and applied to skill acquisition. There's all kinds of different skills people typically want to learn. Um, One of those could be an instrument, and the class that I teach on how to set a D.A.M.N goal, it can actually be really useful for that. So over the course of the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking you through my own journey of learning this, and I hope you'll follow along. Before we get too deep into it, I wanted to record this to explain a little bit about how I'm thinking about this, because I just made some pretty bold statements. Like I said, I'm going to take you through my journey for the next few weeks of learning piano. Of course, people spend a lifetime learning piano. So I don't want to pretend like I'm going to master this. Let me talk you through how I'm thinking about this. So first of all, a little bit of background with me and music. When I was a kid, I used to play piano and liked it a lot. I think I learned it for maybe a year or two. And then I don't remember why I stopped playing, but that's what you do when you're a kid. You usually put stuff down and then regret it later. Anyways, always really enjoyed it, but I forgot everything that I knew. And I always wanted to pick it back up. As I got a little bit older, never really had the time. I spent a lot of time traveling immediately after high school and through college, so not super realistic to have one of these. Actually, funny story, this is not mine. I'm in an Airbnb right now, and that's one of the reasons I'll be focusing on this for the next month, just because I have it available. So anyways, never really had one. Always wanted to learn it, and now seems like a pretty good time. Also, Christmas is coming up, and I always really wanted to be able to play some Christmas carols just on the piano. One of the things I talk about with the D.A.M.N goal framework, and I'll get into this in a little bit more detail in another video, is a lot of people have some kind of dream in their head. It's not really a goal because it's not specific enough, but there's some kind of dream, some kind of image. And what I tell people is, whenever it pops into your head, recognize that you're thinking about it and take some time to really try to figure out what that image is. So I'll give you an example. When I'm talking about me wanting to learn piano, that's a very broad desire, and it could mean a lot of different things depending on what you're trying to do. So there are concert pianists, there are improv pianists and blues pianists, and all these different types of players at all these different skill levels. How do you narrow that down into a very specific goal? The way I think you should do that is by sort of tapping into the image in your head that comes up when you think about this thing that you really want. So for me, one of the things that I always really wanted was to be able to just sit down at a piano that you find in public and play a song, or to be able to play some really nice music around the holidays. So I'm shooting this in early November. Holidays are coming up in about 6 or 7 weeks, and I figured I'd use this time to learn some songs really quick and kind of show you how that's done. So if you're familiar with the D.A.M.N goal framework, you know that one of the tenets is that there's a whole process that you go through in order to get very specific about your goal. I haven't gone through that yet when it comes to the piano. I only just got to this Airbnb a couple of days ago. I haven't really thought through the specifics of the goal, and I'm actually working on that more this weekend. But what I wanted to sit down and do in this video is take a little bit of a baseline. For a few reasons. One, as I mentioned a minute ago, piano's not completely new to me. I learned a little bit of it when I was a kid, and so it wouldn't be fair to say that I'm learning this completely from scratch. It has been probably 23, 24 years since I played seriously, so it's mostly gone, but the reality is I did used to play. The other thing is that about a year ago, I bought a piano or a keyboard and started learning to play it again, and then just never followed through with it. So I had spent about a month or so learning a couple of songs, and so again, I just wanted to kind of give it an accurate reflection of what my starting point really is, so that a month from now you can see where I actually end up, and it doesn't look skewed or anything like that. Okay, so in terms of the songs that I already know, there's basically two. I'll get to the songs in a second. I know nothing about music theory. I know almost nothing about the keys. I know that this is a C note, and that it's replicated every octave, and I know that this is a C chord. I think that's a C chord. Somebody might correct me on that. I could be completely wrong. That is basically all the theory that I know. And then in a second, I'll play the two songs that I practiced quite a bit the first time I came through this. The thing is, I can't read music, and I only know a piece of these songs. I'm going to play you everything I know of them, just so that you can see where I actually am. So that's a great example. I'm actually off here. I'm doing it wrong, and that's kind of the point. I don't always have this exactly right when I set up. That is sort of where the limitation of my knowledge is. So this is Vince Guaraldi's Linus and Lucy. It's always been a favorite of mine, and I've always wanted to be able to play it. I've tried to learn it a couple of times and never really get that far. So this is where I'm at. So that's all I got. Now, when I really hit that and it sounds good, it sounds like I know what I'm doing. But as you saw there, in like excruciatingly painful HD, the reality is I'm not an expert at that song by any means, and I only know part of it, which is a big deal because if you sit down to play it, you can't really do anything, right? You can play the intro to the song, but that's all. It's also choppy, and some of the best parts I can't play at the right time. So that's where I'm starting with that one. It sounds complex, and it is. It's a more advanced song from a skill perspective, but I don't have the underlying skills to be able to back that up. I couldn't play a different Vince Guaraldi song, and I couldn't play a different song like in that same timing. I don't know anything else besides that. And I think a lot of people are kind of at this point, right? You pick up a few chords or a few notes, so you know just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to actually play a song, and more importantly, not enough to really enjoy it. So if you can't sit down and actually really enjoy whatever it is, whether it's playing an instrument, speaking in a language, writing code, any skill that you're involved in, if you haven't gotten to the point where you can actually enjoy doing it, it's very likely that you're not going to stick with it. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking to overcome in the next few weeks, is improving that song up to the point where I can play it all the way through and enjoy it. And for anybody who's heard it, there are some pretty complex solos in there as well. And I'll talk you through the specifics of how I set that goal and where I select all the resources and what my practice schedule is and all those kinds of things later on. The only thing I wanted to do was set a baseline here. So that's one song. The other one is Colder Weather by the Zac Brown Band. I know, again, just enough of this one to be dangerous. So it goes something like this. Okay, it goes nothing like that. It goes something like this. And that's it. That's all I know. I used to know more, and I think it would come back fairly fast as soon as I started really focusing. But again, that's all I currently remember. It's just enough to make it look like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. And that's what we're going to fix over the next couple of weeks. So that's about it for this video. Just wanted to give you a baseline and talk a little bit about how I'm thinking about this. Also give you an idea for, I suppose, why it's important to take a baseline. It's not just to show you... Actually, we can talk about a couple other things real quick. So, the benefit of taking a baseline, there's at least three. One, and the simple one, is that it shows you how far you've come once you get to your end point. It's really important to be able to measure your progress to determine whether or not you've hit your goal. And taking a baseline is a really important part of that. Another, and I think a more important reason to take a baseline, it's not just that it shows you if you've hit your goal, but in seeing your progress, it'll help keep you motivated. So that was, there were parts of this that were super painful. And now I'll be able to kind of go back to this over the course of the next few weeks. And even if I've got some kind of marginal improvement, it'll help just keep me motivated. And then the last reason I think it's important to take a baseline is that, and we'll talk about this more in another video, the skill of collecting data regarding your goals is a little bit of a meta skill in and of itself. So a lot of people, when they set a goal, they just set the goal and then run. And that's because they haven't developed the skill of taking a baseline. Because it's not always obvious. Like if you're doing a simple fitness goal, for example, let's say, and I don't think this is a good goal, let's just say, for example, your goal was to lose 50 pounds. Well, you know what your starting weight is, right? So you don't really have to put time into taking that baseline, or at least that's what most people think. The reality, though, is that you should, whenever you're considering a project, get into the habit and build the skill of spending significant time up front thinking about the goal, thinking about the incentives, thinking about like what resources you're going to use and how you're going to structure the project, and also what kinds of data you're going to gather. Are you going to gather video data of you performing the skill? Is it going to be, I don't know, some kind of wearable device that gathers your data? Are you going to log classroom sessions or like videos viewed or whatever it is? I don't know what it would be, but you want to think through that up front because the more time you invest in thinking through that, the quicker you're going to be able to leap up the learning curve inside of that skill. There's a certain point where you have to just get to work, but in general, I find people can invest more time in this part of it. So anyways, that's a little bit about how I'm thinking about this. I'm going to come back with some more videos in the next couple of days talking about like resources that I'm choosing and also clarifying the goal. So I haven't actually set the goal yet. There's not an explicitly written goal somewhere that I can now perform to. So I'll come back in the next few days with all that stuff and show you how I go through it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope this was useful, and hope you enjoyed it. If you did, this is new to me. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll throw links in the description to this video to some of the other stuff that would be helpful that I mentioned. All right. Thanks for watching.